Welcome back to Friend or Foe, everybody. We're in Week 3, Day 1 of the Helios League. After a fantastic 2 games on the day, we're headed into game number 3. On the blue side, we have Gorilla Muffins, and up against them on the red side, we have Rex Regalius. Super excited to see these two teams duke it out as we head into Champ Select. As always, my name is Whirler, and casting alongside me tonight, we have Civilock.
Thank you very much, Whirler. I am super excited for this matchup. One thing I do want to call to attention before we get too deep into it is that Rex Regalius is not playing with their main roster today. We have Alec Battery sitting one out, and in is Mr. Chunks. Pretty fearsome AD carry player in his own right.
And I'm excited to see his performance in this game. Used to seeing Alec Battery perform in the bot lane, but haven't seen Mr. Chunks yet play with this team. And with how much I enjoy seeing Rex Regalius play, I am excited to see how Mr. Chunks meshes well into their team. We've seen incredible performances from all the players so far, so I'm honestly hoping to see Mr. Chunks do just the same, as the Moo is locked in first for Gorilla Muffins.
We'll have to keep an eye on that one. I think Mr. Chunks is a pretty similar style to Alec Battery, which I think makes a lot of sense why he's a sub. I happen to have some insider information on Mr. Chunks. He is on my friends list. Both Alec Battery and Mr. Chunks are just really stable, safe laners. They will get CS advantages consistently, like even in losing matchups. They're not really the type of player who will look to get the 2v2 kills or go in super hard and tower dive. They're not like those bloodthirsty kind of players, but they're players who play for economy, they play for income, and they show up in team fights with 2 to 3 items and blow people out of the water. So I think that's definitely the style that Mr. Trunks will be going for. I'm curious whether Doctor chooses to stay in the lane or if he ends up roaming to try and facilitate plays on top side of the map.
Could be. And the economy route in organized team play is usually the way to go. We like to see those kinds of teams really strategizing their wins. That is exactly what a competition is about. Thresh Varus locked in for Rex Regalius, and honestly, that is by itself a pretty decent lane, setting themselves up. Thresh, I don't believe I've seen Doctor on the Thresh just yet, and that champion is just chock full of plays.
Yeah, definitely a lot of options between Varus and Thresh. You can combo Chains of Corruption into Hook, play into Hook into Chains. Like, you just have so much CC, you have a lot of setup, and then Varus's one weakness, his immobility, suddenly gets really negated when you have the power of Thresh Lantern to get him out of those tough situations. On the other side, though, it's going to be answered by Tristana, and then one more hover. We're going to see what this gets locked in as, and it's going to be a Lux. Really interesting.
Definitely so. Lux. Love to see that champion on the Rift. I myself am a fan of the Lux. Not too sure how it's going to perform but with a champion like a Mumu on her team, extra magic damage is always welcome. Gnar being hovered so far for Rex Regalius, that could be a good pick in itself into the team fighting phase for Rex Regalius, as it is locked in and we are heading into ban phase number 2.
A little surprised that Joshi did get his signature pick on the Gnar. It's really kind of not exactly a one trick, but it's definitely one of his signature champions, and he really is able to show a lot of his strategic knowledge from that character. I think one of Joshi's really big strengths is he just doesn't really die to ganks. His jungle tracking is really good, and he's a very conservative, controlling player. So I expect to see some really top-notch wave control from this Gnar as he pushes the waves back and forth to stay safe while slowly growing advantages.
The infamous Joshi Gnar. I've seen Joshi play in both Luna and Helios, and I love his performances in the top lane. It's always a sight to see, especially when he's on the Gnar. He has a lot of proficiency in this champion from what I've seen so far in FOF. Don't know why he consistently gets it. Honestly, it's to his benefit though. Comfort over anything else, especially when it's a champion as good as Gnar is in the meta. Heading into pick phase number 2, it's going to be Orianna locked in for Rex Regalius, and it's swapped over last second to Zoe. More crowd control to add to the mix.
Yeah, Zoe is definitely one of Zenza's signature picks. I'm surprised they're opting into that against the Lux. In my head, that seems like kind of a scary matchup just because Lux Bind can go through one minion and then clip Zoe on the back end of her R. And if she gets bound, she's in a lot of danger, a lot of threat from the Lux full combo with ultimate. But there's definitely a lot of counterplay. It's a skill matchup. And we're going to see Aatrox locked in by Gorilla Muffins here. Huge AoE Wombo combo coming out of Gorilla Muffins so far.
It definitely could spell disaster if it does land, as team fights would occur towards the middle of the game. LeBlanc being hovered to round out the comp. Not too sure the direction they're trying to go here, but that could end up being a Lux support if that does get locked in. LeBlanc could spell disaster for the Zoe. It's a pretty tough matchup. It is sort of, I would say it's on the bigger side of a skill matchup than LeBlanc favored, but that doesn't matter. Annie is locked in for Gorilla Muffins, and if you have watched this tournament in Season 3, this champion has not lost then. Has that reigned true up to now? No, it has not, but we still love seeing this champion. It's a niche pick, especially into the mid lane. Could be flexed around with the Lux, so that could be easily an Annie support or a Lux support. It's reversible either way, as Lilia is locked in for Rex Regalis as jungler. That is quite a team comp, Civilock.
Yeah, we have like a very high, we have double sleep, I guess, first of all. Rex Regalis looking to put us into a resident sleeper game. For your resident sleepers in the chat. Other than the little sleep sub theme on Rex Regalis, they're really showing us a pick composition, right? Like they have Zoe Bubble, they have Lilia Sleep, they have Chains of Corruption, they have Death Sentence, and they have Gnar to manage sideways while the 4-stack is sieging, right? So they're not necessarily like, they're not bad at team fighting, like they can still team fight with Lilia and Gnar, but they're not like specialized into team fighting. One thing I'm really going to keep my eye on is what is the Varus build going to be? If Varus's lethality, it really doubles down on the pick and siege aspect, but it makes them really vulnerable to Aatrox and Amumu late in the game, especially with Lux Shield going on top of that, and Annie Molten Shield for that matter. So I kind of want to see an on-hit path or a crit path from Varus, but we'll see what Mr. Trunks ends up choosing. And then on the other side, right, Gorilla Muffins is really about the AoE Wombo combo. Like every single character has a lot of burst, a lot of damage that you want to just cluster up, stack, fight for objectives. So I think really what we're going to see is the story of this game is these two asymmetric win conditions. Rex Regalis playing for picks, Gorilla Muffins playing for AoE teamfight, and whoever is able to engineer the fights so that they get terms that they like is going to have a huge advantage.
With that being said, who do you think is going to be taking game number 3 of the night, Civilock? I'm putting my vote on Rex Regalis. How about you?
I'm leaning toward Rex, but I can't say I'm super confident. I mean, I think Rex is a stronger composition, and I think they're a better team overall. I also think it's a lot harder to execute, but we'll have to hold on to that thought. Black Venom might not know that he's in huge danger right now.
5 people headed up into this bot lane, all corners. Black Venom is not in a good position right now, is why, Doctor gets the hook onto him. Zoe picking up the first blood for herself. That is 400 gold in Zen's pocket. I've seen him with this kind of a lead before. If you remember the Vel'Koz game from about a week ago, that was a disaster for the enemy with Zen piloting that pick. And Zoe can do just the same, starting 1 minute in the game with an extra Dark Seal. That is amazing. But on the flip side, GURL looking to get an invade on the enemy red buff. Joshi and Rafa are going to... they predicted it. Joshi is getting the knock up there, taking about the half. Amumu taking much lower, forced to smite and flash out. And that's going to be the end of that. A late start for the Amumu, a failed invade, and really well played by Rex.
Wow, what an incredible start by Rex. They get that nice prepped level 1 kill. They use the thresh hook over the wall. I wonder if they've been studying GURL VODs and they know how GURL likes to fan. And if they've exploited that on purpose, that's a really brilliant prepped play. And they stop the counter being on the top side. So really, I think Rex just gets everything won out of the early game. They're going to be in a great position to leverage mid-game tempo, especially with the Zoe online. Those bubbles are going to be very lethal.
Definitely so. A very exceptional start for Rex Regalis at the very beginning of the game, too. We're only 2 minutes in. Hook going wide, not going to find anything for their level 2 power spike. But alas, getting a good push in on this Tristana. Depending on how she CS this could determine a lead for Mr. Chunks. A very good start for his debut onto the team as a sub. And over up in the top lane, Joshi getting a 5 CS lead, starting up small against the Aatrox, but those things turn big, especially if Joshi is able to poke bacon pancakes out more and more as the game goes on. He is ranged after all, and as most top laners say, they hate that.
Oh, if you take a look at the red here, Rafa having an enormous advantage of Mumu starting blue and then resetting early. After just 2 camps, is going to show up to his red buff and be very disappointed. Oh, hold that thought. Bot lane.
Good backwards flay onto Stove. Stove jumps right on in onto Mr. Chunks, and he's going to pick up that kill. Hook goes wide, not going to save himself out of that one. He has Rafa coming up on the wings. They're both very low. Flash Q from Rafa is going to secure another one on them. Stove is dieted, Wing back to tower, and he's going to get out alive. Still has his flash up. Why you know, Doctor, playing that one really calm, waiting for Rafa. Is able to get saved 1-for-1 in the bot lane. Not
Zen waiting in the bush.
Zen getting a sleep onto Trulax. Amumu looking to run away from this one. Rafa not going to be able to respond to that one. Amumu, after recalling, is going to be taken back down to half as he gets to clear very minimal of his jungle after Rafa was done with it.
Wow, we have action all over the map. Yeah, Amumu hitting 4 minutes with 2 camps done. This is the saddest mummy I've seen in a while, and I think showing the dangers of playing this type of champion in a 5's environment. So like you can farm to 6, you get a Mumu ultimate on your team. Curse the sad mummy is just a really good spell, but in 5's, this weak early game is really exploitable. Mumu didn't have flash early. They knew Amumu's entire route, and Rafa was able to punish accordingly, having an enormous tempo advantage, and that's able to bail out the bottom lane play. Mr. Chunks was shoving in prior, so he doesn't even lose too much CS. And overall, Rex still maintaining huge control over the game state.
Definitely so. Joshi getting a good push onto Aatrox, turning that CS lead up as it goes. Zen getting good poke on Nico. And this is looking really good in the early game for Gorilla Muffins. Tristana cashing out on that early kill with double longsword to Mr. Chunks' single longsword. That does help, especially being a little bit behind in the early game. Getting that extra damage on the enemy AD carry will help, especially in trades, which is going to be very, very good for GURL to get back into this game. However, on the flip side, Joshi helping Rafa with the crab. That's going to be 2 crabs so far for the jungler of Rex. That's a lead. That's a pretty harsh lead, especially already being 30 CS down. To the low.
Yeah, Moo's done 5 camps in the time that Rafa has done 10. So it's kind of a rough one for this mummy. Oh, flash from Nico.
Flash from Nico, ulti onto Zen. The nullifying orb is coming out from the rune. It is going to be enough to keep Zen alive. No flash or anything was burnt in turn for a flash ulti from Nico. Zen making it out alive by the skin of his teeth. That is very, very good for Zen.
Yeah, Zen's showing like an iron resolve there. Doesn't believe he needs to flash and is rewarded for it. Oh, this poor Amumu, he's level 4. This is really, really unfortunate. It's not only does this suck for Amumu, because Amumu wants it 6, wants to scale, activate into the mid to late game with those team fights. But it also really sucks for Aatrox because Gnar was flashless. Joshi did not have flash. He used it to live at the level 1. And Bacon Pancakes can really snowball and compound off of that. But unfortunately, that flash goes unpunished from the early game. Joshi has his flashback. He's level 6 as Gnar. Has those armor boots to help him kite. And it'll be very hard to interact with Gnar from this point on.
And speaking of CS leads, if we look over to this bot lane, Mr. Chunks up almost 20 total CS against Stove. That is insanely good. This is your substitute AD carry performing really well in this early game, and that is very, very good to see if you're looking for Rex to get this game on the lockdown. As for GURL, In the mid lane, still sort of even. The kill, the early kill from Zoe, not spelling too much disaster for the Annie, as we've seen a lot of aggression coming out of her just now. In the top lane, it isn't too terrible as well, only 10 CS down, as it looks like Lilia might be going for a top play, sitting in the bush up there. Joshi is pushing bacon pancakes in. They're just going to walk around, maybe get some jungle pressure in. Amumu is able to take his own blue, which, honestly, good for him.
Yeah, gotta buff his Amumu. Hooray! Oh, man, someone give this Amumu a break. Oh, man, Rex is just going to 3-man invade into the topside jungle. They have full control. They're just going to ward Amumu out and cut off the circulation through the top jungle. It results in a free grab. And with that, I wouldn't be surprised if they look to convert into Drake or an early Rift Shield really soon. Rafa has pretty much... does need to clear a couple of camps before he's free, but is really well positioned to secure more tempo off those global plays. Really, I mean, Rex has a dominating position here, but I really wouldn't want to count GURL out of it just yet. It's about a 1.5k gold lead, which is a lot for 8 minutes, but there's still always a wombo combo potential back in the game. When you have Annie, Amumu, Lux, Aatrox, like, and Tristana reset, like, if you mess up one fight badly enough, you're going to get chain reset on, wombo comboed, and then lose the objective. And, like, if that's a lot of shutdown gold onto the right people, GURL can just slingshot back into the game.
Definitely so. I have to fully agree with that as they start the Infernal Drake
for action
into the bottom lane. Infernal Drake, first dragon of the game, and it actually does go over to Rex Regalis. Joshi getting a good trade on bacon pancakes, sort of goes even, not too terrible for them. Joshi going to take his newly acquired Infernal Drake, and he's going to take his gold lead to the bank as he has the plated steel caps so far against this Aatrox, really wanting to deny him the damage that he could potentially do, and really just rubbing it in with that Executioner's Culling. That is quite a purchase up in the top lane. Buying into utility to help him into the 1v1. It is very smart to do against Aatrox, especially post level 6. Good on him getting a dagger for some attack speed too to keep rocking W's, as this Gnar in the top lane is looking pretty set for himself. Aatrox on the flip side, getting that Gore Drinker set up. That's going to be a huge spike as soon as he's able to get that. Evened up the CS quite nicely too. It's both in the 60s. Almost was down 10 CS just a bit ago, so that's good on bacon pancakes for catching it back up. Rafa looking up in the top lane, getting some pressure on to Nico. Zen pushing it in constantly. That is very, very good on him. The Mumu, he's just trying to catch up. I mean, can you blame him?
He's able to secure the gromp there. I guess there's something really subtle there that I want to call out. I know it was a while ago, but Joshi actually trading really intelligently. We saw that even when he had the stacked wave, he wasn't willing to interact with Aatrox unless they had full vision of Amumu. Ooh, that's big damage.
You got gameplay going on here with the Zoe.
Zen had Ignite Flash the whole time. I think he could have committed for lethal, but oh, hold that thought. We have a huge team fight. Amumu ultimate.
Good thing Zen kept that flash because he's able to get out of that one. Ulti coming out from Amumu. Curse of the Sad Mummy not going to pick up a Zoe after that one, but a flash play. But a hook flay from Why You Know Doctor is enough to secure that kill. Nico going down for 2, but Joshi going to trade up in the bottom, or on the flip side, Why You Know Doctor going to take the L after that one too. So that's going to be a 2-4-3 trade. Rex still coming out on top of that. Not too shabby for them. A kill up on the trade on Mr. Chunks' end. He is soloing this up really well, still keeping the CS lead despite the roam from Why You Know Doctor. Very good on Stove and Black Venom to push that in and punish Chunks as needed. But Chunks not really feeling it too much. Still up in CS. Hasn't given over the kill after that. And it appears, looking at the build, that this is exactly what you were talking about before. It is not going to be Lethality Varus. He has chosen to go the on-hit attack speed Varus.
That was a really prolonged mid-dive. And it was really close to making out for Rex with the perfect play. But you know what they say, close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. They do lose a couple of members on the back end. Still super favorable because they trade up, kills, and crash the wave, and get tower damage. But, you know, if they're just... Joshi was able to flash out a little earlier and not die the last tower shot, if while Doctor committed his flash to get over Raptor Pit. Then it's like insane. That's the highlight reel play right there. But overall, still very good. Rex is happy with that. They're going to extend their gold lead to 3,000 gold. We're going to keep an eye on that as we reach the Mountain Dragon timer. We got that spawning in 90 seconds. With this item advantage, they have Leandri's completed onto the Lilia, and Rafa's going to be super huge. And conversely, we see Drulax on Bommies and Brown Boots. So there's going to be a huge power gap as we enter the Dragon fight. I wouldn't be surprised if GURL is forced to just give this up, but it's really unfortunate because their team really wants to AoE team fight. They want to group up in 5v5, but they just might not have the gold to do it yet.
Definitely so, and I'm giving over a Mountain Dragon to a team that by themselves only has 2 members that are truly tanky. Uh-oh.
Balling fight.
Chains going a little wide. Mr. Chunks looking to still get it out on that one. Stove forced a W out. No heal was busted just yet, despite the chains of corruption slightly missing. I would say Mr. Chunks caught up pretty well on the damage. Stove barely getting out of that one. And it's going to be, oh, he's looking for it. Oh, did get it. Did not come through just yet.
Yeah, Doctor committing for the roam, heading back now. Why Doctor played that 2v2 super well, actually. He set up the initial play, and then actually position on top of the bush and through Lantern. And what that does is that actually allows Mr. Chunks to play super aggressively, knowing that at any time, if Lux commits bind, Mr. Chunks just yoinks the Lantern, and Black Venom cannot connect the damage without the CC. So that was a really creative Lantern usage from Why Doctor. Even though Mr. Chunks didn't end up taking it, the threat of the Lantern allowed him to get way more damage than he should have been able to safely.
That is very well played. Why Doctor demonstrating valid support skills in this game. And right after that trade, he wasted not 1 second and went up to mid lane. You saw him there almost as the trade ended. I mean, that you love to see that from the Bobby Boots Thrash, as Mountain Drake is coming up. Lux ulti coming through, not going to be close to the steal. Rafa going to secure the second dragon for their team.
Yeah, Rafa with a lot of discipline there. He's the kind of player who will wait. He has the patience. He's played a lot of jungle. I think it's really easy to see the Lux ult and like panic smite. I mean, that's what I do when I'm autofilled to jungle. I just like me damage, hit smite, because like, what they steal it, and then when you smite it down to 500 HP, and then they take it. So Mark's a lot better. Rafa's a lot better jungling than I am. So props to him. He gets that easy secure, and with that, Regalis is on track for 23 minute Dragon Soul. That's pretty scary, and it's going to put a huge timer on GURL. They need to make something happen soon, and they're not going to have a lot of gold for it.
Definitely so. They are scrapping for kills around on GURL's side. Aatrox with 1, Annie with 1, and we got Stove Indicted with 1 as well. The root coming out from the Everfrost pickup on Zoe's passive. Zen is very much a pressure-heavy Zoe right now. 30 CS up, full Luden's Echo, and that is one strong Zoe in mid lane as they secure
tower
a
capture.
15-minute first tower. No platings on it, but we still take a first tower in that
Rafa.
regards. True Lax.
Found it.
Go to sleep real quick and hit him with the round 2 of the sleep. Drowsy coming through. The sleep on sleep action. There's your melatonin. True Lax is going to bed.
Yeah, just go to sleep, they say, as True Lax returns to the fountain for his sweet, sweet dreams. There's the rub. Sometimes when you dream, you bring forth nightmares.
That was
Speaking
one
of which, the Mumu, we see a Mumu trying to farm. Oh my god, wait, hold that thought.
Zen landing these bubbles amazingly. I don't think he had vision of that specifically. Only vision of Annie walking in that general direction. Why Doctor flaying Tristana out of the jump. Very well timed. That is a hard timer too, because Tristana is able to buffer a lot of CC with that W, but he's not having it there. Why Doctor getting the backwards flay beautifully. Mr. Chunks on the board with a kill now. That was beautifully played by the both of them. Black Venom alone in this bot lane, working with what they got, and Joshi and Rafa up in the top lane, popping the Rift Herald, and they're going to get themselves their first tower as well. And second tower is going to be taken very low due to the Rift Herald proc. But Zoe in the mid lane, after taking the first tower, 1 minute later, gonna pick up the second one for herself. They are on the board, ladies and gentlemen, and in just 2 minutes, this team has 4 turrets under their belt.
We really saw the Goldie kind of explode because the tower damage was just accumulating all over the map, and pretty much all 3 tier 1s just fell simultaneously. Rex playing a really balanced approach across the map. I mean, how does GURL get back into this? I think we really have to take a look at Amumu here, and honestly, like Amumu's situation, it's not entirely their fault. It was a team-wide decision about how the level 1 played out, but eventually it meant that Rex Regalis knew Amumu's entire route. Rafa was able to live in Amumu's jungle and punish him at his weakest point in the game. I'm wondering, Roller, I kind of throw this one back to you, does Amumu need to farm back in the game? Does Amumu need to start ganking? How does Trulax stabilize this kind of unbalanced game state?
At this point in the game, with how pressured he is, especially in his own jungle, Trulax doesn't really have too many openings back into this game. He needs to cut his losses, take what he has, and use it at the best he can. He's, at this point, they're engaged, and only they're engaged. And I don't think Trulax has too much more to say about it other than that. Oh my god, Joshi going for the Gnar into the wall. Nico taken very low. Joshi forced to flash out. No kills to be had just yet, but a TP from the base is going to allow Aatrox to join this fight. Zenzen might catch a Q here in a second, but the hook from Thresh is going to be enough to make bacon pancakes flash out of that one. Stove almost going to bed, not quite just yet. Only 1 kill in that entire fight. Trulax going to take the L for this team on that one as the rest of them get out alive. But Nico, a little too greedy in the mid lane. Rafa going to take this one as a paycheck with the Leandris and the Lilia passive taking her down. That's 2 kills on the fight.
Yeah, I think that was just an overreach from GURL. They fought in their own jungle when Rex already had full vision control, and they didn't have item completions on Annie and Tristana. And without Neko's Night Harvester, oh my goodness.
Another. Zen on these mages has yet to let me down. Zoe mechanics, everybody. Good play from Zen to pick up a free kill on Stove as Dided. Full HP means nothing to this champion. As the 3rd dragon of the game, the 3rd Cloud, 3rd being Cloud, is going to go over. Looks to be uncontested to Rex Regalius. That's soul point, ladies and gentlemen.
And, you know, ultimate cooldown is probably, in most situations, like not really the best stat you want from your dragons, but honestly, you take a look at Rex Regalius' top, they're pretty happy with her. We're going to hold that spot. Joshi going super low.
Joshi getting the free 600 gold for himself. He might give over a kill to Bacon Pancakes, but I honestly would consider that one to be worth a solo inner tower on a side lane, giving 600 gold. I talk about this every time. He went, I think he went more than positive on that trade. He's off the map for 30 seconds, so he's got to cut his losses where he has it. No TP at the moment. This could be GURL's chance to make something happen around the map, but as Aatrox gets caught out by the Zoe, he's going to go down instantaneously to Mr. Chunks, and there goes any idea of that ever happening.
Oh man, they get the pick, they have the power play. And sure, even though Rex gets the tier 2 tower, Aatrox gets an enormous shutdown, but unfortunately there's just very little they can get. Their waves are too shoved in. There's too much threat. Imagine trying to face check in the jungle to try and start Baron when you know that Varus Qs and Zoe bubbles are going to be flying over the wall, and you get hit by one thing, you're just dead. So honestly, unfortunate for GURL, but you know, it's tough because they haven't been able to establish vision. They just have no control over the map, and it's starving them of resources. They're down 10,000 gold at the 21-minute mark.
Definitely so. Joshi trading shutdown for inner tower. Helps open up the map. Aatrox taking a paycheck, but giving it right back over to Rex Regalius on the Baron side of the map. Joshi almost catching out the bot lane as Black Venom was able to pick up that bot tower just now, but with that
Rex with the Baron
known, Rex Regalius are going to start up this Baron.
Yeah, and honestly, GURL has no business stopping this. If they walk into the pit, they're just going to die to like Chains of Corruption into Zoe Bubble or Thresh. Like, there's so many things that are instantly killing. There's too much CC. They're trying to poke in, and Baron's already dead. I guess they're going to have to try and hold the inhibitor where they have an AoE teamfight potential. This is going to be their last chance to really stop the Rex Regalis onslaught.
They got to really wait this one out. They have the Baron. They did the recall. They're getting the items. This is exactly what we want to see from Rex Regalis. not wasting any time strengthening up against GURL. They're looking to start opening up the map now with this Baron. And if you're GURL, there's only one way to stop it. They really only have one chance, because if all 5 of them go down in a team fight, that spells disaster for them. They got to really play this one carefully. Rafa getting a root from Black Venom, but traded back with the Lilia E. The bowling ball is going to put her to sleep, and Zoe's going to take that one to the bank. Hook, line, and sinker. She's gone.
Oh, hold that thought. Joshi fighting the dive.
It's not over yet. Nico holding the base, but it's all for naught. Joshi jumping on in there, getting himself an anti-kill, but Tristana, caught out of position, is going to get the Thresh hook to the face. Varus damage coming out on Bacon Pancakes. Bacon Pancakes got to run away from that one, and this is exactly how you open up the base for Rex Regalis, as they're going to pick up a free inhibitor and 3 kills.
They're going to gobble up the inhibitor, and with Dragon Soul spawning in 90 seconds, will be an easy pickup from Rex. They're not done yet, though, because they're rotating the tier 2 bottom tower. Lock this with the last remains of their Baron buff, and I'm pretty sure they're going to ward the entire bottom side jungle. GURL has no way to enter the Dragon Pit with the jungle looking like this.
They have 1 minute to kill, and I believe that it does not matter whichever way GURL approaches this fight. With how ahead Rex Regalis is, they are more than welcome to play it at their own pace. Dragon Soul coming up in 55 seconds, and Rafa is wanting it. He's got the smite ready, and honestly, I don't see a way that GURL can really fight that one very fairly. Could be a chance for a steal. You have a Lux on your team, but all it's going to do is just delay it even further and allow Rex to just continue on the game normally. They don't lose too much. Cloud Soul is very nice. Lots of move speed to be had as well around the map. Fresh Hook trying to find some pick. Not going to find it just yet. Zen going a little short on the bubble this time around. But the Melatonin comp is not done yet. They're fishing for this one. Zen looking for a bubble. Goes a little wide on Neko.
Oh.
Nico going for the flash ult onto Zen. Zen still alive. He's not out yet. Black Venom missing the ulti. They're going to trade a Lilia for that, but it is all for naught. That is damage on the Amumu. Mumu going to go down. Mr. Chunks pumping out damage. Joshi up in the top lane going to pick himself an inhibitor up, and the Gnar over on Stove forcing him W out. He's going to get out alive. But that's an inhib in the top lane given, and I believe that is Cloud Soul, ladies and gentlemen, as Joshi is wreaking havoc up in this top lane.
I love how Rex Regalis are just starving out the vision. They know the only way they can possibly throw in this position is to give a 5v5 in the Dragon Pit, right? That way they would give all the shutdown gold back. But instead, they say, we're not even going to let you try. You're not going to get to steal. You're not going to be able to cast Curse of the Sad Mummy in the Dragon Pit. We are just going to split push you to death while constantly warding your bottom jungle. And eventually, GURL cracks. They try to force the play with Nika's flash, but they just don't even have the damage to kill Zane. He just Zen walks out of that the entire anti combo, and that's just the level speaking. Locket shield coming into the back end to save him, and so close and like yet so far from GURL, right? Like they just don't have the money anymore for even their conceptually correct plays to work.
It looked very good too. Zen responding it very well with the flash. Nico almost getting herself a nice pick on the Zoe. That would have been a paycheck and a half. 900 gold shutdown for Zen. Across the board, almost 1,000 gold. As we can see with the CS going up and down. Mr. Chunks, good hook. Let me stop that right there. Bacon Pancakes forced to flash out of that one. Is going to go to sleep. It's not going to matter. There's 4 people surrounding him. Bacon Pancakes is going to be burnt. As 4 into the bot lane, 5 with Joshi off to the side, looking to get this last inhib for themselves. Not going to matter too much. I don't think shutdowns are important at this point in the game when your Nexus is at stake. There is a push going on here, ladies and gentlemen. 1 minute to the next Baron. No Baron anymore, but Zoe getting a box for himself. Flash hook from Why You Know Doctor. The W buffer was good from Stove. Stove's going to try to get out of this one alive, but a flash Q from Lilia, and Joshi with the rock is going to put him to bed. Nico, only one left standing. Bacon Pancakes up in 2 seconds. Zen and friends are looking to take this one home. 6-0-9 here on the Zoe so far, and the bubble does land. Annie is asleep. A lot of damage coming out. Bacon Pancakes getting hooked once more. Joshi not mattering too much. Zen getting poked as he can, and that's the Nexus under siege. There's Chain of Corruptions. It goes wide. Joshi is taken very low on this one, flashing out. Is he going to be able to survive this one? Double jump away. And ladies and gentlemen, that is going to wrap that one up. They stay alive. They get out of this game unscathed. Victory for Rex Regalis.
And they bust out this really exciting sleep composition, but it turns out it's less along the lines of tucking people in and more along the lines of putting people in chokeholds, because every single sleep that connected resulted in a brutal death or Summoner's Forced every single time. We saw a really strange game where we had these asymmetric team compositions. The game looked really one-sided, but honestly, and kind of unfortunately for GURL, a lot of that just came out in level 1. When Amumu's behind the level 1, when Zoe starts getting with Darksteel and Ring, it's just you're working on the back foot for so long, and Rafa was able to punish that immediately and just jumps on that. So I kind of want to know, like, what would have happened if that level 1 was a little bit different? Would GURL have had time to scale and find the 5v5 if that hadn't happened? We're not going to find out today, but I'd be really excited to see these teams play against each other later on. See if maybe there's a little bit of a different story there.
Later on in the season, we will get one more rematch in the regular season between these two teams. But for now, Rex Regalis and GURL go on to face off other teams as the weeks progress. Zen with an extremely well-played performance on the Zoe. Chat, don't forget to vote for your MVP. And we will be right back for an interview, final interview of the night with our winners. Good game to Rex as we end off the night as casters. Ladies and gentlemen, you have a great night, but stay tuned for an interview with your winners by our very own Chris Edgeworth. Stay tuned.
Hello everyone, Chris Edgeworth here for our final interview of the night. I am joined by Rex Regalis' Mr. Chunks coming in, subbing for the bot lane. So, Mr. Chunks, congratulations and welcome. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. We just won a game.
Yeah, it was a monster dub. And let's get right into it. I do want to talk to you a little bit about the draft, and this was interesting. GURL always seems to bring their own interesting spin on the draft. They do have their flavors of champions they like to stick to, and you folks brought out the recently, I believe Lilia did receive the buffs on this patch, or are they slated for 11-18? I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure she just got buffed on this patch. And then you're here on this Varus, and somehow Joshi just gets the Gnar again. So how do these things happen? What were you thinking about what you folks had, and what do you thought of what you're up against?
Alright, so I was actually in the middle of the game when they told me I was going to play. So I wasn't able to watch the draft. But going into the game, I looked at the champions, and they're all like typical champions that I know they play. Josh, of course, with his Gnar. You know, Zane has been playing a lot of Zoe, and Doc, I thought Thresh would get banned. So that was pretty cool. They did target ban me, apparently, with the Ashe ban. I've been playing a lot of her, but I play a lot of Varus too, so ended up okay.
And let's step right into actually talking about the Varus. I mean, this matchup, you did pick you had the Wits End Immortal Shield Bow build with lots of the heal cut coming through early for a lot of you folks. Especially for Joshi in that top lane matchup, but I see you folks all sporting Grievous Wounds items. So talk to me a little bit about this build that you pulled out for Varus in this matchup.
Well, okay, so because I didn't have that much input into the draft, I was kind of just stuck with Varus. Looking at our team comp, we deal a lot of like poke and like burst damage. Going into Mumu and Aatrox, we need more sustained long-term DPS. So I had to switch over my build, and then I was the only source for like long-term DPS.
Yeah, well, it's I mean, it's a good source of DPS when Zoe, at the point that you folks were at, was basically 100 to 0ing even Trulax, who actually had a completed tank item. Unlike a lot of these, Nico rather, excuse me, she was getting popped at a certain point there. It was looking tough. So I mean,
yeah,
backing that up with Varus.
When we're going into the game, we still have to think about the worst case scenario. What if we're not up 14k and we just one-shot them? So we still gotta build appropriately.
True. Hey, you know, you gotta make sure you carry a lead in. I was just talking about that on the last interview. It is kind of unfortunately a common refrain that has happened over the seasons at Friend or Foe. For every monster lead someone gets by 10 minutes, there's an equal and opposite monster throw of said lead at like post 35 minutes or whatever. So, you know, gotta play smart. Agreed. And that's
the other thing. Like, if I never died, then we could stay in the fight, and it's more important that I survive than to do extra damage.
Exactly. And so let's talk a little bit about how this game really got off on the wrong foot, to put it mildly, for Gorilla Muffins. This level 1 that you folks had concocted. Give me some insight on that if you could.
So they did it in their very first match. I wasn't there. They walked into 5 people in that bush, their camping, and then I think they ended up dying, and it was a really bad level 1 for Rex. So they thought, you know, let's just try it again and see if it works, and it worked this time. Hey, we'll probably try it again in the future. Just, you know, always keeping people on their toes.
Yeah, you know, you never know when you're going to run back the exact same play in the exact same way. It also helps when they don't ban the Thresh, you know, where you can just get the nasty hook. Although I did notice this time, I believe in the first one, I'll probably get flamed in the chat if I'm incorrect about this. I'm pretty sure the players are in the chat. I'm pretty sure in that first one, Why You Know Doctor did miss the hook in the first game 1, so way to go. This game you did land the hook. Feel free to flame me though if I'm misremembering that. Okay, flame me. I see it. Thank you. This is why I have the chat up next to me. Okay. There were 5 people. Okay. Fair enough. So thank you anyway for Mr. Chunks for this interview. Sorry to go on that little tangent. But before we step away, your last opportunity on the desk. Any final thoughts you'd like to leave with us this evening?
Yeah, so I played a few practice games with Rex before. Typically, they crush lane a little bit more and they're really far ahead, and they carry me. I'm just there for the ride. So a little disappointed in them. Thought they play better.
Yeah, it's truly a disappointing showing from the crew. Honestly, I've seen better out of them. Although it's a famous saying from myself that I say in solo queues. You know, if you're gonna sub in a team and it's ADC, you know, it's just like my saying in solo queue is that the ADC is just my turret and I'm a support main. You know, it's just like, why you know doctor's just like, stay here and don't die. I'll be right back, and just go about his business. So well done on this substitute game for yourself, Mr. Chunks. Maybe we'll see you in the future, but hopefully we'll get Alk Battery back soon enough as well. Sending thoughts to him. Thanks again for this interview, Mr. Chunks, and congratulations to Rex Regalis. Folks, that is going to be the end of our evening tonight. We do have In the Trees picking up a victory from the forfeit this evening, so this is going to conclude our cast for tonight. I thank you all for joining us this evening. We will be back tomorrow at 4:30 Pacific Standard Time for our next set of games, so we hope to see you then, and have a good night.
If that's what you